Fort Drum Annual Retiree Appreciation Day. On behalf of the Commanding General, Major General Scott M. Naumann, and the Garrison Commander, Colonel Matthew R. Meyer, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Fort Drum, New York, home of the 10th Mountain Division Light Infantry. Among our distinguished guests for today's ceremony are Major General Scott M. Naumann, Commanding General, 10th Mountain Division; Command Sergeant Major Brett W. Johnson, 10th Mountain Division, Command Sergeant Major, and his spouse Candace Johnson; Colonel Matthew R. Meyer, Garrison Commander, and his spouse Laura Meyer; Command Sergeant Major Jeremiah L. Larson, J. Larson, Garrison Command Sergeant Major; members of the Fort Drum Retiree Council, retired soldiers, veterans, and family members. We would like to extend a special welcome to our guest speaker, Ms. Lynn Peterson, Program Manager, Army Retirement Services. We welcome you to today's event and hope the services and information here today can help you with questions, assist you with benefits, and explain to you your entitlements as honored veterans and retired service members. Your sacrifice and dedicated service to our great country is greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for our invocation given by Chaplain Lieutenant Colonel Vernon Shackelford and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please pray with me for the invocation? Let us pray. Our great and mighty God, we are deeply grateful for our retirees and this significant day for the Retiree Appreciation Day. Our retirees have served and continue to serve with honorable and significant meaning. Thank you for these time-honored traditions. Thank you for the great opportunities that we have each and every day to serve this great nation. May we be mindful that it is always better to give than to receive. This I pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you, Chaplain Shackelford. Ladies and gentlemen, Fort Drum Retiree Council Officer. National Anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, now please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, Fort Drum Retiree Council Officer, Co-Chairman Colonel Frost, U.S. Army, retired.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for attending the Fort Drum Retiree Council annual Retiree Appreciation Day this weekend. The weather's great. I'll take credit for it, you know. You couldn't ask for anything better to be out here in short sleeves on a September day. It's great to see all the retirees and families here. I'd like to first introduce the retiree council members. Myself, Colonel Charles Frost from New Hampshire. My co-chair is Command Sergeant Major Frank Padokas. Would you all, each of you stand up as I introduce you? Colonel Mildred Smith. Lieutenant Colonel Annette Buford. Lieutenant Colonel Janice Gravely. Navy Commander Wade Landis. Captain Jeff Saley. Command Sergeant Major Morris Mitchell. Sergeant Major John McCullough. Master Sergeant David Peterson. Master Sergeant Amanda Wells. Sergeant First Class Lance Steinfeld. Surviving spouse member Miss Brenda Pennels. And Canadian Liaison Richard Vinay. All of us, as you know, are military retirees. Most of us Army and one Navy. We're volunteers. We meet here at Fort Drum twice a year in the spring and the fall. Some of the things that we're involved in is that we assist the RSO, the Retiree Service Officer here at Fort Drum, with setting up for this RAD and assisting with the RAD preparation. We write and put out a newsletter in conjunction with the Retiree Services Office. We also formulate and raise issues that get raised, retiree issues that get raised to the Chief of Staff of the Army. Last year we raised 3 issues, and all 3 were endorsed and accepted and sent to the Chief of Staff of the Army. So our word is getting heard at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. Also, I'd like to encourage you all to continue to tell your military story. Less than 7% of the population in the U.S. has ever served in the military. This is much different than when I grew up, when all our parents and uncles and friends' parents served in the military during World War II and Korea and so forth. Today it's much different. We really need to tell our Army story, military story in our communities and to the young people that are coming up, because our recruiters need our help to recruit and get people to serve in the military and know the benefits of serving in the military. At this time, I'll be followed by Major General Scott Naumann, Commanding General of the 10th Mountain Division and Fort Drum. Hey, thank you, sir. Everybody hear me? In the back there? All right. What a wonderful day. That was kind of weak. Even for the Navy. What a wonderful day. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, just welcome to Fort Drum on behalf of Sergeant Major Johnson and myself. I can't imagine or envision a better day to address this crowd. And, Chuck Frost took credit for it, but I think Frank is responsible for this weather. At least that's what Frank told me earlier, right? Let's give it up to our retiree council, by the way. And besides this awesome weather, if you listen in the background, you may hear some gunfire. You may hear some explosions. Anybody hear that earlier? It's okay. It's Army training.
And I'm not kidding, actually. We've got expert soldier badge testing, expert instrument testing, expert field medical badge testing going on right over there in the wood line there. So I hope that makes you feel like not only coming to Fort Drum makes you feel like you're back home, but hearing the sound of freedom should make you feel like home as well. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. I got a few remarks here, but before I begin, let me first thank everyone who has a role in putting this thing together. And as long as I've been in the Army, I didn't know we called it Rad Day. I thought someone was making up a new fad by saying rad, but everyone who had a role in putting together this Retiree Appreciation Day or Rad Day, thank you. How about a big round of applause for our Retiree Council? For our garrison and the Retirement Service Office. We got the band out here adding a touch of class, right? Thanks to the band back there. The mighty Triple Deuce, 2nd of the 22nd Infantry, helping us out, putting this thing on. There's countless others. We got soldiers that are helping out with displays. The MPs are going to be over by the PX, not to ticket you. Although if you cross across the line, maybe they will. No, everyone that's making this a success, thank you so much. This is really important for us. We gather, as Chuck mentioned, really to honor a group of individuals, that's you all, whose dedication, courage, and unwavering commitment have shaped the very fabric of our community. And I don't think it's saying too much to mention that. Your journey, those of you who have served, began with a selfless decision to wear the uniform. You faced challenges, you endured many hardships, and you overcame obstacles during your career, all in the name of duty. From the rigors of training to countless deployments, and I see the caps with the campaign credit for all of you that have been serving. You answered the call with unwavering resolve. Our retirees, no doubt, have seen firsthand the sacrifices that come with military service. But you've also witnessed the camaraderie of what it's like to serve with other members in uniform. You've also known what it's like to see the strength of those leaders that you followed and the resilience of the people that have followed you. And that includes your families. And at this moment, I'd like to extend a great thank you to all the families that have stood alongside of us who wore the uniform to enable us to do what we were so proud to do for so many years. How about another round of applause for our families? As you transition from active duty or reserve duty into retirement, you brought a wealth of skills and knowledge and experience that was unique to the communities in which you live and work today. And I tell you what's most inspiring to me as I get out and I talk to folks is that your service hasn't ended. You may have taken off the uniform, but your service hasn't ended. It's simply taken a new form of service. And I think that's really important, whether that's through volunteer work, through a community organization or a veteran service organization, or simply being a role model for countless generations to follow in your footsteps, you all continue to make an incredibly positive impact in our communities. And it's really, really important. So on behalf of a grateful nation, on behalf of those who are serving today, represented by myself and Sergeant Major Johnson, thank you. I extend to you our deepest gratitude. Your sacrifices won't be forgotten, and you should know that. Your service has inspired countless others to continue on and follow your legacy. But as Chuck mentioned earlier, we've got another mission for you. Should you choose to accept it, give you a little Mission Impossible there. In many ways, and particularly if you think about where we are in the Northeast, where there's really not a huge military footprint anymore following a lot of our base realignment and closure actions. In many ways, you represent the only military members, the only people that have served and understood what it was like to be in uniform, the benefits of that service, the entitlements of that service, but the immense pride and the opportunity. And I ask you, on behalf of the Army, on behalf of the Navy, on behalf of the entire military, tell your story. Continue to explain to other people what it meant to you, why you chose to wear a uniform, why you chose to continue to serve and retire as a career military person. It's so important today. And as Chuck mentioned earlier, and I imagine this will be a theme throughout the day, in many respects, people just have no exposure to anyone who has served in the military any longer. In many respects, I think Chuck said 6 or 7% of the population serve. More and more of that 6 and 7%, they're generally family members. And while, I'm incredibly proud of 2 of my 3 kids who are serving in the Army today, and I think all of you are proud for those that you know who are serving in the military and the armed forces, I'm not sure that's good for our republic. So we need you to reach out and expose people to the wonders of this career, the wonders of this profession, and help tell your story in a personal way of what it meant to you, because it's really important for our country, and you're the right people to do that. We've got a great guest speaker here today. We've got a bunch of activities planned. Of course, Clark Hall and all of our wonderful workforce are here to help and assist you throughout the day. I hope you enjoy your time back here at Fort Drum. But before we move on with the program, we've got a special treat. We're gonna have an opportunity to re-enlist Corporal Dylan Henley here, which I think is a fantastic way of connecting those who are continuing to serve with those who have served, and that real manifestation of what that life cycle of a lifetime service to our nation and a soldier for life really looks like. So I'm going to ask Corporal Henley to come up here, but as he does that, I just want to thank you again. God bless you all. God bless our country, and climb to glory.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Major General Naumann will administer the oath of reenlistment to Corporal Dylan Henley, who has decided to continue to serve strong, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Corporal Henley has been stationed at Fort Drum for 3.5 years. During this time, he served as a saw gunner and grenadier. He deployed to Syria from July 2023 to March 2024. His future, Roger, sir. His future goals are to attend air assault and ranger schools. Standing in support is a retired soldier councilman, presenting part of a visual representation of the soldier for life cycle. Start strong, serve strong, and remain strong.
All right, raise your right hand. I, Dylan Henry, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States, and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations, and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations.
Miss Lynn Peterson, Program Manager, Army Retirement Services.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So first, I'd like to thank you all so much for inviting me here. It's my first time at Fort Drum. I was telling the general earlier that I was actually born in Syracuse. My dad was stationed here in the Air Force back in the 70s, so I was born in Syracuse, New York, but this is my first time as a conscious adult that has been up here.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I'd like to start with a roll call if I could. And bear with me as I say, do we have anyone here from the Space Force? So believe it or not, we currently have 406 Space Force retirees. Does anyone have any idea how that could be possible? Any thoughts?
No.
It's because they were transferred in from another branch of service. So they went from Air Force to Space Force. So we already have 406 retirees from the Space Force. Do we have anyone here from the Coast Guard today? No Coast Guard? I heard one woo. How about Air Force? All right, we got Air Force represented. Marine Corps? Oh, come on, the Marines can do better than that. Navy? All right, and then the Army. So we currently have over 1 million Army retirees and over 300,000 surviving spouses. There are over 50,000 Coast Guard retirees. There are 150 Marine Corps retirees and about 500,000 Marine and about 700,000 Air Force retirees. So we take a lot of population, the retiree population. So I'm from Army Retirement Services out of HQDA. I myself served, I retired as a CW3 in 2015. I had initially gone to the recruiting station in 1988 as a junior in high school to meet with a Navy recruiter who never showed up for my appointment. So as I was leaving the recruiting office, I hear, "Psst, come here." Next thing you know, I was in the Army. So there you go. You snooze, you lose, right, Navy? So I ended up serving for 27 years to retirement, 25 of which were in an active duty status. And I have remained in the National Capital Region ever since, going directly from retirement into the Army Retirement Services Office. The mission of the Army Retirement Services Office is that we develop policy and we oversee the Army-wide programs related to Army Retirement Services that care for our retired and retiring soldiers and their surviving spouses and their family members. We have oversight of all three components, so regular Army, Army Reserve, and Army National Guard. We also have the policy proponent for the survivor benefit plan for the Army. We have the program manager in our office. We also have the My Service Benefits program. If you haven't heard of it, we have a My Army Benefits page, and we have state and federal benefit fact sheets on there, but My Service Benefits also includes, we have My Air Force Benefits now, and soon we hope to have the other branches of service as well. And of course, we have the Chief of Staff of the Army Retired Soldier Council. So to be a member of the Chief of Staff of the Army Retired Soldier Council, you have to be a member of your installation council and be nominated to serve on that. So in the Army Retirement Services Office, like I said, we have pre and post-retirement policy. So under the pre side, we have the Army Retiring Soldier Retirement Planning Handbook. They have the mandatory retirement planning briefing, and we have change of mission. So those that have 17 or more years of service that are still serving, that have not yet retired, they get the change of mission newsletter. It is the currently serving version of Army Echoes, which you as retirees should be getting. And we also have the policy proponent and the retirement planning toolkit as well. So we have the regulation, which is 600-8-7. We are the proponent for that. And then under post-retirement, we have Army Echoes, which is our quarterly newsletter. We have the Soldier for Life Retirement Services page and the My Army Benefits, My Air Force Benefits pages. We also have the Retired Soldier Handbook, which we update every year. So you can access that online, and that's downloadable, as is the Retirement Planning Guide for those that are still in that planning window. In the My Service Benefits arena, we have retired pay calculators and survivor benefit calculators, and those are CAC enabled. So those soldiers that are still in the planning window are able to calculate out their pay. When I was retiring, I used this calculator and it was accurate to within $1, so it's a great tool. Currently, those calculators are being updated and they should be back live again in December with the new and improved calculators. So all of the resources I've mentioned are available on our website, and we also have sections there for surviving spouses and former spouses. So if anything were to happen to you, there are resources available on our page to help guide your surviving spouses. So we have pre-retirement, we have post-retirement, surviving spouses, survivor benefit plan. There's also a section on our page for the CSA Retired Soldier Council, and under that we have all of the annual reports that tell you about all the different issues that the CSA Retired Soldier Council has addressed for that year and what the outcome of those recommendations were. So you can see those reports every year, and they are available on our page. And again, Army Echoes and Change of Mission. You should be getting Army Echoes automatically. It should be a DFAS Smart Doc notification sent directly to your email, and that also applies to Change of Mission. That would be a Smart Doc notification as well. If you don't have an email account, you should be getting hard copy. If anyone that has retired from the Army is not getting Army Echoes, please let your RSO know so we can figure out why you're not getting it and make sure that you do, because we do put a lot of information out in that. And it's our way of staying connected with you, letting you know what's going on in the Army, how you can help the Army, and any kind of benefits updates you might need to know. So it's a really good resource and tool to keep up to date and all the newest things that are going on. So if you're not getting it, please let your RSO know so we can make sure that gets fixed. And again, the retirement services products, the retirement planning toolkit, it's an interactive checklist that you can go to, that soldiers can go to when they're retiring. The retirement planning guide and the retired soldier handbook. We do update all of those on an annual basis. The retired soldier handbook is available for download, and your RSO should have some hard copy as well if you'd prefer a book format. Bear with me. I made little tiny slides for myself, and then when I saw there was a podium, I said, oh, I don't need my readers. I can use the full-size version. Something else I wanted to let you know is that TRICARE and FedVIP open season is coming up. So if you plan on staying in your plan, you do not need to do anything. You can just wait and you will remain in that plan. But if there are any changes that you want to make to your enrollments in either a TRICARE plan or in FedVIP, open season starts on November 11th and runs through December 10th of this year. Make sure that you get in on that window. And it applies to all the TRICARE Prime levels, the USFHP, the Uniformed Services Family Health Plan, FedVIP. If you're familiar with FedVIP, it's the Federal Employees Dental and Vision Insurance Program. You can enroll in that. That is also under the same open season, so 11 November to 10 December 2024. So make sure if you want to make any changes, you get those in within that window. Something else I wanted to talk to you today about is the Army Emergency Relief. We want you to make sure that you know that in addition to being able to donate to AER, you can actually receive benefits from AER as retirees. You can apply to them for loans or for grants if there's any time that you have a need. So make sure that you know that AER is a resource for you should you ever need it. And they do have information available on their page, the armyemergencyrelief.org page. You've had a lot of information about the retired soldier motto, which is your mission has changed, but your duty has not. You have opportunities to still serve, whether that's a junior ROTC instructor, installation volunteer positions with military service organizations or veteran service organizations. You can also talk to your RSO about joining the Installation Retiree Council, and who knows, someday also serve on the CSA Retired Soldier Council as a member of the installation. They are currently recruiting. I believe that the Installation Retiree Council might have positions available. You have 4 positions available, I'm told. So talk to the RSO, talk to the council members. They're all wearing their black shirts, all up in the front here. So make sure you meet with the council members, meet with the RSO if you're interested in joining your Installation Retiree Council, and perhaps have that chance to serve also on the CSA Retired Soldier Council and come visit me in DC. The CSA Retired Soldier Council is also recruiting. The nominations are due by mid-November, and currently we have 3 positions available, 2 officer and 1 NCO. And again, to be able to serve on this Chief of Staff Retired Soldier Council, you have to be nominated by your Installation Retired Soldier Council and be a member of that council. Some of the updates that have occurred because of the CSA Retired Soldier Council are regarding to healthcare. There's access to retiree contact information, which is a tool called the Retiree Address Finder through the HRC Soldier Management System. There's also a new Soldier for Life logo and clothing line. So before, we were unable to have any clothing with the Soldier for Life logo or words on them because there was a person in Guam who owned the trademark for the words Soldier for Life on clothing. So the Army actually negotiated with this person, and the Army now owns the trademark for the words Soldier for Life on clothing. So we do have Soldier for Life clothing line available, and it's actually at your PX. I went and checked it out last night. So you can also buy them online. So that was another initiative. We also have the Army Retiring Soldier Commendation Program package. So when soldiers retire, they receive a tri-sign letter, they receive a flag, and the Retired Soldier lapel pin, which is an official military award in the award regulations. So they receive all of that in a packaged kit. So there was a time where we lost some funding for that, so we're making sure that we get it back in a packaged form again. There was also an initiative to improve on the processing of gray area retirement packages. The gray area retirements are those soldiers who served in a reserve component, are qualified to retire, but have not reached that age yet where they're able to apply for their pay. So that gray area between when they stop drilling and when they turn age 60. And they came up with a new and improved way to process those. And they also have new gray area future retiree MyPay accounts. So now they have MyPay accounts already established with DFAS, so they can update their contact information in those future retiree accounts, so that we're also able to keep in touch with them the way we keep in touch with other retired soldiers. We're able to send them Army Echoes directly and communicate with them when it's also time for them to apply for their non-regular retired pay. So the CSA Retired Soldier Council all can credit themselves with getting those initiatives worked. So again, you've heard that the military is encountering headwinds as far as recruiting. So I have some stats. I know you got the less than 7%, but here's what we're up against. So 12% show a propensity to serve. 50% say they know little about their military. So this is why we keep saying, tell your Army story, talk to people, let them know what your service has been like and how you've improved or how you've benefited from service, how your family members felt about your service. I know for myself, I transferred my post 9/11 GI Bill to my daughter, and she's currently pursuing her master's at Emory in Atlanta, and she's doing it using my post 9/11 GI Bill, and she got her bachelor's using it as well. So for me, that's a success story that I was able to give that benefit to my daughter. 23% are qualified to join without a waiver. So only 23% do not require a waiver to join. 44% of recruits come from a high school with a junior ROTC program. So of course, they have some exposure to it through junior ROTC, so there's a higher propensity for them to serve because they already have that exposure. 83% have a relative who served. So again, it's family members, it's proximity to service. So they have seen it, they see the benefits of it, and they decide to join. And then lastly, the less than 7% of Americans are veterans. So what we ask you to do is hire and inspire, be visible, help hire vets if you're in a position to do so. Inspire Americans, tell them about your service, tell them how the Army made you who you are now. Inspire the next generation, just be yourself. Talk to them and just be yourself, inspire them. And then wear the clothing line, let them know who you are. Be proud of your service, wear your Soldier for Life shirts, your hats, let them know who you are and where you came from. And then lastly, we're all over social media. Stay connected with us. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, DVids. We're all over the place. So reach out to us through the My Army Benefits page. You can also reach out through the Army Echoes email that you see in every issue of Army Echoes. When you send that, either myself or my coworker are probably the ones that are going to be responding to you. So if you want to just say hello to me, you can email me at Army Echoes and I'll say hi back. All right. So I wanted to thank you again for having me, and what a gorgeous day to be in Fort Drum, New York.
At this time, Commanding General, 10th Mountain Division, Major General Naumann, Officer Co-Chair of the Fort Drum Retiree Council, Colonel Frost, retired and enlisted Co-Chair of the Fort Drum Retiree Council, Command Sergeant Major Puidokas, retired, will present a gift to Miss Lynn Peterson.
Thanks, Lynn. Appreciate you. This is a memorable time. This is a snowshoe. I know you don't see these in DC.
No, but you do in Massachusetts.
That's right. That's right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, come in the middle here. You want to take a picture? Come on up.
The inscription reads, presented to Lynn Peterson, Program Manager, Army Retirement Services, Retiree Appreciation Day, Fort Drum, New York, 21 September 2024, from soldiers past, present, and future. Quote, once a soldier, always a soldier for life, end quote.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, after the conclusion of the ceremony, your benefits update briefing will begin at 09:45 in Clark Hall, room Alpha 119. If you have not completed registering for today's events, please do so at the registration tents located to the left and right of the ceremony seating area and receive your Soldier Retired for Life items. Beginning at 1000 hours and throughout the day, there will be military K-9 team demonstrations just outside the PX, along with vehicle and military equipment displays. Special thanks to the military police of the 91st Military Police Battalion and to the soldiers of the 1st Brigade Light Infantry Combat Team. We hope you enjoy the Wellness and Information Fair and the ensemble of benefactors that have gathered at the main PX to assist you. Services you may need, such as DEERS, enrollment, ID cards, wills, power of attorney, and other personnel services are located here at Clark Hall and are open to assist you. There's a shuttle van available that departs from the PX every 15 minutes, starting at 1000 hours and ending at 1400 hours. The vans will go to Clark Hall, Luray Mansion, and the museum and back to the PX. Consider a visit to the Luray Mansion Historic District. The newly renovated Luray Land Office is featuring displays about the lost villages of Fort Drum and the history of the 10th Mountain Division. Walking tours of the district and a visit to the original mansion will be available. A special thank you to our facilities manager, Mr. Bob Sillick, and the AFES for hosting your Retiree Appreciation Day. Also, we would like to thank the 10th Mountain Division Band, MEDAC, and all our soldiers supporting today's event. Also, to our participating organizations and the Fort Drum Retiree Council for making the event possible. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join in for the playing of the 10th Mountain Division song and the Army song. You may follow along with the lyrics posted in your program. We are the 10th Mountain Infantry with a glorious history.
On our own 2 feet, all our foes will be free. Like fighters marching up to victory, go where others dare not go. In the heat or cold or snow, we are proud to be in the army of the free. Glory mounted infantry, back to glory the light infantry. March along, sing a song, we're the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud army, we're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. Then it's hi, hi, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and straight.